One of the common questions I get asked all the time is, when do I know if it is right for me to form an LLC in order for me to get access to Stripe? I understand the frustrations of being someone who wants to offer services or sell digital products online, but you don't have access to the payment processors that you need. So let me answer the question of whether you should form an LLC in order to get access to Stripe. The reason for this is because if you don't know what you're getting yourself into, you might fall into one of the categories like some of my customers who rush into creating a company only to close it down 1 year later and spend a lot of money, because it does cost money to form a company and it costs money to close the company. So how do you know you're ready to form an LLC? What I advise my customers and clients is that before you go into forming an LLC, you should make sure that you're making at least 500 to 1,000 USD per month steady. So this means that in the last 3 to 6 months, you've been making a steady $500 to $1,000 continuously. And if you check your bank statements, check your income reports, and you see that you're around that point, then you're ready to consider it. Number 2 is, ask yourself, is the absence of a payment processor currently hindering your business? Like, is it truly hindering your business, or is it just an inconvenience? I know that some of us have access to just PayPal, some of us have access to neither, but there are some platforms that you can use that will still give you access to charge payments and all of that, and some of them do that at an extra fee, but you'll be able to still process payments from your clients. So if you are not at a point where it is becoming difficult to actually run your business, I wouldn't recommend jumping into creating an LLC just to get access to Stripe. Number 3 thing I want you to consider is, are you ready to take on the responsibility of being a full business owner? Many people, that especially freelancers, run their businesses independently. So they just find clients, work with clients, get paid by clients. That's pretty much the entire business model. There are no extra responsibilities as to how the business is run. They just do it however, because it's just them. They are solo inside of the business. But when you register an LLC, you begin to get extra obligations, such as your accounting, your bookkeeping. You'll be required to pay annual state fees. You'll be required to do your federal taxes every year. And if you are not ready to take on that responsibility, this is not to say that it is bad or it is difficult, but it's just a mindset that you should keep in mind. Am I ready to take on this responsibility? Is this just a side gig? Is this something that I want to do long term? If you don't see yourself doing this long term, then you don't want to take out the time to start forming a whole company just because you want to charge 1 or 2 clients $100 or $50. Something else to consider is, how much exactly are your services? If you're charging higher ticket services, we know that as with certain payment processors, the fees can get high, which is why it is nice to have a company, a US bank account, and Stripe. Stripe only charges about 2.9% for their fees, and if you use bank-to-bank transfer with things like Mercury, it's completely free. So if you're charging your clients high ticket and you're ready to really up-level what you're doing, then you should highly consider forming an LLC in order to get access to a US bank account and to Stripe. And finally, something else to consider is it affecting your client experience? When you start offering high ticket services, people expect a certain kind of experience from you. They expect a certain feel and whatever. When they sign up with you from the beginning to the end, they want to be treated a certain way. When you walk into a 5-star hotel, you expect a certain level of experience. And if your processes are not currently reflecting that, then you want to think about whether adding this into your processes will enable you up-level your client experience. For example, I know that some freelancers are unable to use maybe client management platforms like Dubsado or Honeybook because they cannot access Stripe, and they cannot access US bank accounts required in order for them to use these platforms. So if that's the case for you, then you want to consider. And before you go, the last thing I want to say is, before you eventually make the decision to dive in and actually start the process, that you have some money saved. I usually recommend, number 1, save before you start registering the company, and number 2, after the company is registered, save around 10 to 15% of your revenue ahead of time, just for any professional fees such as your tax, accountant fees, and also for whatever taxes that may arise. So you're not always obligated to pay taxes, but in case the opportunity comes up and you're required to, then you want to have something stashed that you can fall back on. And whenever you're ready to register your LLC, we at Alpha Filings are always ready to help you. We help non-residents like you register a company, get their EIN, ITIN, US bank accounts, and Stripe accounts with ease without needing to fly over to the US. You don't need to ship us your passport or anything like that. We do everything remotely, and we've successfully helped over 300 entrepreneurs get started online. So if you want to talk to one of our team members, you can send us a message by following the link in the description, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.